Hi everyone, Trishna here. So today we're going to be doing an unboxing video. To be honest, I've actually already opened this deck and used these cards on my channel earlier this week, but I did want to share the deck with you, and I haven't looked at the guidebook. I've only used the cards like 2 times for 2 of my readings. So anyway, just thought it would still be fun to kind of open things up because I'm still excited about it and it's still really new for me. So the deck that we're going to be looking at today is the Shaman's Dream Oracle. It is by Colette Baron Reid. The artist is, Colette Baron Reid and Alberto Villoldo. And the artist is actually Jena DellaGrottaglia. Okay, so 3 people actually involved in this deck. And yeah, so first of all, just looking at this box, it's beautiful. I mean, look at that. Look at the edges. Like, that's just, I love this whole color scheme. I love anything that's cosmic like that. So very much my style. Yep. All right. And this is a 64 card deck, so it's actually pretty thick. So this is one of those decks where it's like got the magnetic side. And so you open it like that. And I like that. I like that kind of style. And on the inside, when you open it up, it says, discover your true destiny as a dreamer. And then when you open it, you also see this little message here, which is we are all, I think you can see it now, we are all sacred dreamers dreaming the world into being. And I love that. I love the shaman theme. So here's the guidebook. And we got the back. And I'm going to read the back. So, the Shaman's Dream Oracle Guidebook. The dream world has long captivated the human psyche as a way to understand the deeper layers of our lives. The mythic landscapes and spirit beings that we encounter in the sacred realm shape and create our experiences in the waking world. We are all sacred dreamers dreaming the world into being. What will you dream? The imagery and the insight in the Shaman Dream Oracle draw from the shamanic dream world of archetypes and magic and offer fresh, contemporary interpretations. Master teachers Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron Reid reveal how your dreamscapes guide you to co-create your world and manifest your most precious intentions. So I remember Colette mentioning that she dreamed out an oracle deck where she was having these dreams. She was dreaming for a while and she was having all these strange characters. And after a while, she realized that she was dreaming her next oracle deck, and she ended up putting those characters into her deck and actually creating a whole like system around it. I don't know if it was this one, but it'd be cool if it was this one. I actually think it might have been the Wisdom of Avalon oracle deck. I think this might have been the actual one. And I do have an unboxing video for this. I just filmed it just before this one. Anyways, so she dreamed one of them. Maybe it was this one. Maybe it was the Wisdom of Avalon. I think it was the Avalon, but I just like how, I don't know, it just made me think of that with this being the Shaman's Dream. So typically, or actually, this deck came in one of these like paper things. But as I said, I got too excited and I opened it anyways. And then I started using it. And yeah, but I have reordered everything, put it back in the right original sequence so we can look at the deck together. So, first of all, the back of the deck, beautiful, and it can be read reversed. And if you don't know what that means, it means that when the back is symmetrical like this, where you can't tell if this is up or this is up, that means that it's a deck that can be read reversed. If it's not symmetrical in this way, then usually you consider that a deck that you don't read reversed. Of course, do whatever you want. You don't have to read this reversed. You can read another deck that isn't supposed to be read reversed. You can read it reversed if you want. Do whatever you want, but that's just what that means. I always keep mine all in the same direction, and that's how I shuffle and everything like that. So if a card comes out reversed, like if I'm shuffling and then it like flies and then I flip it over and it's reversed, I will just read it reversed no matter what. That's the only time that I read reversals. So anyways, the reason why I do that is because I'm so anal about keeping it in the same order that if it comes out in the opposite order, then it must need to be read that way because I'm so particular. Okay, so now getting into the actual cards. So the first one we have is a tidy house, clarity and organization. Beloved, radical acceptance, benefactor, grace and generosity, caterpillar, opportunity, and I love this. I just love the color scheme. I love that it's like a caterpillar. I will say that what I've noticed is sometimes the titles don't always seem to align with the word. So it's caterpillar, opportunity. I guess you could think of it as a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. So there's an opportunity to turn into a butterfly. But I feel like you gotta think about some of this a little bit more. The benefit of that is you're kind of getting two meanings for the card. So whichever one pulls you more is the one that you read. So it's almost like each card is a double card in that way. Closing door, completion. Sometimes they do align, of course. Cosmic womb, the divine feminine. Covenant, sacred contract. Crown games, right use of power. Dance on one foot, balancing act. And just look how vibrant these cards are. And one thing that I really like is, so Colette Baron Reid has several decks, and I already have 3 of them, and I've had those for years now, like at least 2-3 years that I've had them. I have the Enchanted Map Oracle deck, and then I have the Wisdom of the Oracle, and then I also have the Good Tarot. And so the first 2 that I mentioned, the Enchanted Map and the Wisdom of the Oracle, I believe she's redoing, because in the versions that I have, they have a border. And then in the new versions, it's the same cards, but there's no border. And if you notice here, there's no border around these cards. And I actually really like that. I love how it takes up the whole page. And yeah, I love that style. Deep diver, diving into a task. Deep quiet, meditation and stillness. Dragon's hoard, protecting the future. I mean, aren't they just so vibrant? Like, oh, it's so amazing. Okay. Dream thief, refusal of the call. Occasionally I'll have dreams where I go to somewhere so beautiful, like it's so beautiful, and I'm just like, how did I dream that up? But most of the time my dreams are not this pretty. So this is very nice. Drifter, experiencing life as it comes. Dust devil, moving out of stagnation. Interesting. Empty well, time of replenish. Eye of the needle, intentionality. Eyes of the eagle, rising above the fray. Falling angel, spiritual narcolepsy. Some of these brighter cards I think are a little bit harder to see, but they are like, there's not a lot of contrast in the actual cards. So like you're seeing a little bit less contrast in the video, but for the most part they're kind of washed out as well in real life. Feast of plenty, first breath, fool's embrace, fortune's wheel, luck and right timing, galactic mushroom, shaman oriented, garden of Venus, rest and renewal, beautiful, gathering around, heart home, hollow bone, horned cactus, horseman, in the hand, that one's cool. The universe is your partner, love it. Jeweled web, joyful muse, lay of the land, ancestral wisdom, lost compass, lost in space, magician's sword, mini mass, Me talks. Mindful. Oh my God, look at those colors. It's beautiful. Wow. Sorry, I just have to look at this and appreciate it for a minute. That's gorgeous. I may be one of those people that absolutely loves rainbows. And when I color, if I ever color, the last time I colored was on a cruise to Alaska, where that was like the most interesting thing to do because the Alaska cruise was targeted towards a different audience, different age group. So that was like the most interesting thing to do. But my coloring was described by others as trippy because I like using a lot of colors and blends, and not that I'm like an artist or anything, but that's my style. So Moon Maiden, Netcaster, Overflow, Perfect Storm, Repairing the Veil, Forgiveness, Root Girl, Sky Bridge, Sky Dancers, Skywriting. The thing that I think this deck is going to be really interesting for me because I wouldn't describe myself as a shaman. I think there's like, that's something that's like a path that I think you really have to be serious about, I think, before you can call yourself that. I guess that's with everything. But I did notice that I was doing a lot of shamanistic types of things just for fun that I just came up with on my own. Like I would go on little trips at night where, as I was falling asleep, as I was going to bed, if I couldn't fall asleep, I would just decide to go on an energetic trip. And what that means is I would just imagine that there is a door, and the door would look different every single time. I would imagine myself leaving my body, like kind of floating out of it, and then walking to the door, just looking at the door, just looking at all the details if there were any, and then opening the door, going through the door, and then it would take me anywhere that my mind, maybe I was focusing on an idea, or maybe I would just let it take me wherever. Sometimes I would just drop down until I landed somewhere. Sometimes I would be up in the clouds. Sometimes I'd be out in space, just going on these different trips and just having fun on them and just seeing all the images and like really trying to engage with it and then kind of taking the meaning from that. And that's very similar to journeying. It's not the same. Journeying is like you do that whole process, but you don't do any of the interpretation in between. You do it afterwards. But I'm someone that I guess does things like that while I'm in it. So then when I learned a little bit about shamanism and journeying, I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I actually do. And so I had a little bit of time where I was like really looking into it. And then I guess I kind of left that for like a year. And then I was at Half Price bookstore maybe a month ago. And I bought this book on shamanism. Like, oh yeah, like I feel connected to this. I bought it. And then I kind of skimmed through it and it wasn't for me. Didn't really tell me anything that I didn't already know. I guess when you're a psychic and you work with energies and you're always asking questions and oh yeah, that's the other thing is like I always talk to like plants and animals. And I've been doing that for like a decade or more, which is also very tied to shamanism. So I guess there's like a tie to it for me, even though I'm not like officially one. So I think this is going to be really interesting for me because there are elements in here that are related to shamanism that are new for me. And like I said, I bought that book from Half Price bookstore and it just didn't resonate for me. I ended up giving it to a friend because like it just didn't really tell me anything new. So I feel like this deck maybe is like came into my life maybe for that reason. I'm like just not realizing this. So anyways, maybe I will grow in that journey. So skywriting, Spirit of the River, Stars in the Sky, Straddling Worlds. Oh, love the colors. Love the blending and everything. Stranger, The Crossing, The Farther Gate, Bold Step Forward. I feel like I took one of these in October and I'm waiting to see how it turns out. Also, interesting that this is the card, Bold Step Forward, for the number 55. If you see 5 recurring, a lot of times that means that there's going to be a shakeup in your life and it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's supposed to lead to good things. So interesting that a bold step forward, which would create a shakeup, would be with the 55. The Wall, Unmasked Trail, Vanishing Mirror, Wailing Tree, Watchers. This is interesting. I actually did a video on my experience with shadow people, and I mentioned it to somebody, I think maybe in a Facebook group or something like that, and they mentioned how they think the term for the particular shadow person that I met is a watcher. So I don't know if this is necessarily the same thing, but that's what it makes me think of. Whale Song, Will-o'-the-Wisp, Winter's Dream, Woodwives. 64 cards. Yep, 64 cards. So that is the Shaman's Oracle. As you can see, it's pretty thick. The cards are very smooth. So here's the benefit of me having already opened this before the unboxing and having used it. The cards are like really smooth. They don't stick together like some cards do. To an extent they do. Like you can see that there are clumps of like cards together, but I mean that's nothing abnormal of any deck that you're gonna work with. So yeah, no, it's nice, it's smooth, it's thick, lots of options. So yeah, this is I'm loving this deck already. If you want to see it in use, I do have 2 videos that I filmed this week, actually yesterday, where I finally opened this. I caved, you guys, I caved. I didn't open the other 3 until I did the unboxing videos, but for this one I caved. I couldn't take it anymore. And anyways, you can see the cards in use in those 2 videos. They're both about the lunar eclipse in Taurus for November 18th to 19th of 2021 if you're interested. And yeah, they had some pretty nice messages. So if you just want to see the kinds of messages that you can get from them, you can visit those videos. And with that, I will end this unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in purchasing this deck, I will have a link, an affiliate link in the description box below for you to get this for yourself as well. And I will see you in my next video.